As Mini Call here coming at you with another video. This one is in regards to essentially attempting 7.2 again. So the first run went pretty well for myself. Second run I did on auto and that did not go so well. And this will be the third attempt now. I'm going to keep it doing manually. The biggest change, I guess, so far from the first run to this run, my symbiotes are now all level 74 except for Venom, who is just a little bit shy. So I was just going in real quick and spending some of my campaign energy that I just got refreshed, as well as my ISO 8 energy that I just got refreshed. Just getting, some additional training mats and etc. Also going in real quick before I hop into the raid, just looking at the store, seeing if there's anything in here that I do need to buy. Like I said in a lot of the update videos, I am buying purple gear that is pretty much under 100, and then orange gear that I need for my characters that I can't farm quite yet. And yeah, so just popping in, buying a couple things, and then I will go ahead and get started on those raid fights. Still farming Crystal, so getting her purchased out. In the war store right now, I am basically kind of just holding out for Ghost is kind of the only person I am straight buying from the war store at the moment. So nothing to buy there. And again, in the elite store, still nothing. So let's go ahead and pop in to the raid. I'm going to go in. I am just about at full energy. Gonna pop in, make sure. All right. So what I've been doing with Mini, just because I do have the extra cores, I've been spending the 50 cores just to get my power up, and just kind of going in and doing as much as I can in a single outing. So let's go ahead and start this up. Symbiote placement really hasn't changed for me. They're all kind of still in the back. Essentially, the idea with this is Symbiote, Spider-Man, and Carnage are in the back row. You're kind of hoping to keep them alive, as well as Anti-Venom is to the far side. So we'll go in. We'll, like I said, kind of do these fights manually. Be really curious if there is a noticeable difference a little bit with essentially from my first playthrough to now. Essentially, like I said, I did add a level for each one of the characters, with the exception of Venom. So it did increase their power level by quite a bit, if I remember correctly. It was something like 3,000 or 4,000 a character. So while that doesn't really sound like too much, I'll be curious if it plays any difference in 7.2. So kind of going in, typical same strategy I've been doing with these nodes. I am in lane 1 on this account, which, the far outside lanes are going to definitely be your easier ones. And then as you are in the center lane, that is going to be your harder lanes. So definitely one of the easier lanes to handle. Going in, still kind of imploring that same strategy of, once I get to about 6 or so characters, I am just kind of autoing. And the idea behind that is I want all of my cooldowns kind of ready to go when I start my next node. If any of my characters are a little bit on the lower side, I might possibly do the heal with Anti-Venom, but for the most part, I should be able to kind of get through, and just with their basic attacks and all of these debuffs that are out on the field, my team should be able to heal up pretty quickly. So this first node, still, again, no problem with it. Cleared through the enemies pretty quickly here. No real issues. I did get that initial heal block from the first Mordo, but because of their really quick speed up, that heal block got dissipated pretty quickly. So not really anything that needs to be worried about on this first node. When I was doing these nodes on auto, I wasn't turning it off around the 5 or 6 mark, and I was just really letting it fully play through. And I had a really hard time, I think, even with the first boss, which I didn't get to play the last time because my lane partner had already finished it for me. So we'll be curious. I didn't look yet to see if my lane partner has already cleared that boss. It might just be a situation where at Mini's level, I can't handle a boss node. And if that's the case, with my lane partner being significantly stronger than I am, I can just let him take those lanes and call it a day. And so he already did clear this raid boss for me. So if you're in a situation where you and your lane partner are of a similar power, you might want to talk to them and kind of be in a little bit more communication where if you're having a hard time clearing that first boss node with your main team, there's kind of a couple things you can do. You can take in kind of what I call a burner team, and you don't want them to be too weak, but you don't want them to be like your strongest team either. And essentially, the idea behind this is that you're going to get all of the enemies on the field to pretty much blow their initial cooldowns and use their big attacks. And then either yourself or your lane partner can kind of go in and then basically finish what you started. A lot of the nodes, especially the boss nodes in particular, that first turn is kind of the worst of everything. The Ultimus node in particular, the final node is really, if you can get past that first turn where everyone does their ultimates, the node is actually pretty easy. So even with my main account on Khaleesi, what I'll do is I will take in a slightly weaker team just for that first wave, and basically let Captain Marvel do her ultimate. I think other ones of note, it's Gamora, Karath. They all kind of have these really hard-hitting ultimates. So once those get out of the way, that node becomes really easy. So definitely something to kind of consider, kind of partnering a little bit with your raid partner. Whether you're talking to them on Discord or in-game chat or, whatever you need to do, just so everyone is kind of on the same page and so we can basically all help each other and keep progressing the way we've been doing. So that's just kind of, I guess, my 2 cents on that one. So this node kind of still going pretty easy breezy. So still kind of targeting kind of my big priorities still with the symbiotes are, again, I am watching for any characters that really have very negative debuffs that do affect the symbiotes pretty poorly. And I am trying to take those characters out first, and then I just kind of work my way around. Again, I'm at that 6 enemy mark, so I am going to start basicking the rest of the enemies and basically have all my cooldowns ready to go by the time we get to the next node. With my energy, I should at least be able to do the second tier, the second quadrant boss node. So I should be able to get that done. I believe I was able to finish that node on my first attempt with Mini, so not anticipating any problems there either. So far, and again, these first 2 nodes are kind of really hard to judge because they are a bit on the easier side, but not noticing too much of a difference between my first attempt and today. So I guess that's not good, that's not bad, it kind of is what it is. I don't think I'll really notice much of a difference until I get to the content I wasn't able to clear, and that was in the 3rd boss quadrant, so that kind of final little bunch before everyone starts kind of converging at the very end. But yeah, so far so good. The symbiotes are, doing what they do. Again, no big issues so far. And I think, I want to say the last time I had a problem was around A7 is where Mini basically just ran out of gas. So we're going to keep going, see how far we can get in prior to the team wiping. And we'll see, we'll kind of do a end evaluation, see if that extra level has made any difference. I know from past experience that there is another big boost in power when you do get to level 75, and when you actually get the the character to level 75 in particular, there's a kind of a big jump again in power. So we'll see kind of what happens with that. I am quite a bit of a ways from 75. I just hit 74 earlier this week, so 75 is probably a bit of a ways away. I think these higher levels are taking a little bit longer. So as you probably just noticed, Karath went and did his ultimate, which hit pretty hard. I'm going to go ahead and ability block Winter Soldier because his abilities hit hard as well. We now have this Scarlet Witch on the field. which Scarlet Witch always makes me a little bit nervous when I have debuffs. You'll notice here Scream has a heal block for 3 turns rather. So I don't want Scarlet Witch extending that at all. So I want to get her off the field pretty quickly. Other things I'm looking at, I don't want Venom spreading those heal blocks around. So I'm going to now go ahead and target Venom and get him off the field as well. And thankfully now at this point, I believe Anti-Venom cured Scream of her bleed, so that's not a worry anymore. I'm also going to go in and I want to get rid of this Kree Reaper. She's another one that's kind of putting up heal block, and I didn't get to her fast enough, so she actually applied that heal block. But I should go in, get her taken out pretty quickly. And then after I get her taken out, I am going to go back to that auto strategy, or not the auto strategy rather, but go back to the basics. And as you can see, my team is fully healed up, so I'm not worried about any health. So I'll just go in and I will basic everyone, and that will be the end of this node. And then we will move on into the next node, which I believe, if I was counting right, that's either the Star-Lord node, which is the boss node for me, or right before it. I think this is the 3rd node in. So yes, I should have one more before I get to Star-Lord. And I do apologize for the occasional glance off camera. I'm actually doing my auto raid fights on both Dracarys and Khaleesi. So I've got Dracarys right now kind of working through the beta raid, and Khaleesi is doing the same. So just occasionally I'll be kind of looking down and just basically I essentially auto all those fights. I just misclicked there and pressed Anti-Venom Special. So hopefully that doesn't come and bite me on the next fight. I don't think it should. But again, sometimes when you're multitasking and you click the wrong thing occasionally. But anyway, so first 3 fights, no issues so far. We're going to go on in and get into our 4th fight. And then after that will be a boss node. And like I said, I think I did this boss node on the first run through and I didn't have any problems. So I am not anticipating any problems this time around either. But like I said, you never know, things could change. Again, some things in Ultima 7 and just in general, a lot of it can be kind of RNG dependent. One thing to take advantage of when you are in these nodes that have minions, if you target the minions first, they should die within 1 hit, which will get you a little extra speed, which can certainly help you get going. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to stun that shield trooper, that way he is not constantly attacking me. While he is stunned, I'm going to go ahead and take out the rest of the shield team members that he would basically assist. Going to go in ability block, Captain America, so he does not taunt. Going to finish off Nick Fury over here, and then I believe I will work on this Merc Lieutenant, so we don't have any heals going. And then we'll just wait for the next wave to come on in and drop down. What I'll probably do on my next turn, assuming Fury doesn't die, I'm going to go ahead and... Fury's dead. So I'm going to go in and I'm actually going to special the Merc Lieutenant just to get myself some good points going. A lot of people are sometimes cautious on using Venom Special, or Carnage's Special rather, just because they don't want to lose all the debuffs. And typically when you do use it, if someone has 7+ debuffs on them and they're in the yellow, chances are that special is going to kill them, and it will get you some really nice points. So if you're looking to kind of up your points a little bit, that's an easy way to do it without increasing the power of your team too much. Just kind of load up an enemy with debuffs and then go ahead and pop Carnage's Special rather, and that'll just give you like a nice little boost of damage. Typically, I think when my Carnage does that special, he's doing close to like 200,000 damage. So, I mean, it's not, a whole lot, but it's definitely enough to kind of get you a little bit higher up on the numbers. So if you're looking to do that, that's kind of the way Mini manages it. It's also partially a reason why sometimes Mini's numbers are higher than Khaleesi's or Dracarys, is because when the AI is playing, they don't necessarily use moves at the smartest time. So they might use that special when your opponent only has like 2 debuffs on them and it doesn't really do that much damage. Where in the hands of a human player, you can kind of plan it out when it's going to do the most damage. I'm going in right now. I'm just doing basics just because the next wave is getting ready to drop. And I was kind of hoping they would do it before the 6 mark, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So I'll probably go in. I am going to. I will stun the Shield Trooper again with Symbiote Spider-Man, and then after that, I'll just go into doing basics and finish the rest of them off with just regular basic attacks. Mainly just because I don't want my symbiotes taking any additional damage they don't need to be taking, and having the Shield Trooper stunned definitely makes that a lot better. So my Shield Trooper has quite a few debuffs on him, so I'm going to pop that special again just for some extra points. And I believe that hit for 143k. So that definitely helps me out number-wise. And, while the rewards are all pretty, close to each other, depending on how many points you're scoring, obviously, the more points you score, you do get slightly better rewards. So if you're looking to up your numbers, that's kind of one of my little tips and tricks on how Mini does it. So we'll finish this up. We will do the boss node, and then that'll actually get us right to the point we were at on Monday or Wednesday, I guess, or Tuesday or Monday, whenever we started 7.2. And that'll get me to that A7 point, and I will see if I am able to pass that. And, basically what that does is it's my own little personal gauge to see if my team has improved at all in the last 2 days or, in the last 48 hours. So we'll go in, we'll do the Star-Lord node, we will try those other 2 nodes, and then I'll do some final thoughts, and that will wrap up this video. Hopefully everyone is, kind of got a plan mapped out for U7, and, obviously we are going to attempt to keep progressing through this raid. Once we get to the 7.5 part of U7, we'll start looking at where we are as an alliance, and we will start looking at the Doom raid. That is probably still quite a ways off, but it's always good to kind of think about those things in the background. Eventually we will be in those raids. From what the community has been saying, it seems like the difficulty on those raids is quite hard. There's always a possibility Scopely will kind of scale the difficulty down a little bit. I mean, kind of no knowing with that. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see, and just see where we are as an alliance. And, leadership will make a decision on what is the best course of action for us. So just to kind of I guess talk through what I'm continuing to do. The reason I didn't pop Carnage's special in that situation, even though Drax has a lot of debuffs on him, he wasn't quite in the yellow yet. And a lot of the times, if you do his special when they are not in the yellow, they won't die, and then you lose all those debuffs. So we're going to go in, we're going to pop that off. And boom, like I said again, it kind of took care of him. So kind of my general rule of thumb in the Ultimus raids, if a character is kind of in the lower part of yellow and, they do have several debuffs on them, you might as well go ahead and pop Carnage's special and just kind of get that extra damage. There's no reason not to. Not doing it because you're, worried that the character isn't going to die. I mean, if they don't die, it's going to get them in the red, and at the very least, you're going to get speed up, and you can probably kill them before they would get a turn anyway. So, you might as well just kind of get those extra damage points and, kind of get yourself a little higher on the numbers. I always kind of keep personal track of, kind of where I am, and, it's always kind of cool to see a slight increase in the damage you're doing, and even just like how far you're getting in the raid. So we are kind of getting close to the basic point. I want to get Loki stunned so he doesn't go ahead and do that confusion attack where you basically attack yourself. Sometimes your symbiotes can hit each other for quite a bit of damage. And then the other one I want to be careful with is Gamora. And while she is never a good character when you're using her, when the AI uses her ultimate, it always seems to hit for like an insane amount of damage. So I don't want her doing that either. But boom, we got her in the red. I'm going to go in here and ability block Loki as well. And the rest of this fight should be pretty clear cut at this point now. I'm going to go in, I'm just going to pop that off, get that some extra points, and from here on we will just probably go in and do basics. The 4 characters I have on the field are pretty much dead, and then so we'll have another wave of 3 that'll drop, and those should be easy to get basicked. It's really important too, when you are getting ready to go into a boss node in particular, you definitely want those abilities ready to go. The boss nodes obviously are going to be harder than the regular nodes. And if you do run any risk of wiping, it's most likely going to be on a boss node versus a normal node in the first 2 quadrants in particular. The 3rd quadrant gets a little bit more challenging where the nodes start getting a little bit harder. So like I said, Mini's wiping on A7, which is a normal node. But on the first 2 quadrants, you shouldn't really be wiping, I don't think, as much on the basic nodes. So we'll go in, we will finish this one off, we will do that Star-Lord node, and then be really curious to see how we do. The other thing I'm noticing with Mini, as I am getting to the higher up nodes, I am starting to run into close to issues of running out of time, and what that says to me also is that I am not putting out quite enough damage. So the ways that I am attempting to alleviate this is, like I've said, I am trying to raise the level of my characters, is the easiest thing. Second thing that's a little more time consuming and very resource dependent is upping their T4s, especially the T4s that increase their damage. And then lastly, and again, it's another timely thing because I don't have the pieces on farm, but the last approach is to increase their gear level. So all of my symbiotes are at gear tier 13. So the next gear tier obviously would be 14. I wasn't planning to take them up that high quite yet, just because that is Dark Dimension 3 territory. And for Dark Dimension 3, you really don't need your city characters until the last 4 nodes. So I wasn't really planning to get them that built up this early, but like I've said in other videos, raid content is very important, just because it's something you're doing every single day. It's definitely something that I think resources should be invested in, and you're going to get the most, basically the most rewards, I guess, on a daily basis if you are investing in your raids. So it's got the most perks, I would say. So going in here, we are at the Star-Lord, or I think that actually last one was the Star-Lord node, so I think this is the first one in the 3rd quadrant. So this is where things start getting a little tricky for Mini, and I do have to start, watching what I'm doing just a little bit more. So far, we're off to a good start, so no problems yet. Let's not go ahead and jinx myself. Like I said, I think A7 was the node that I was not able to complete. I think I wiped on it, and then I think I went back in with my Pimtech team. And I believe with Pimtech, I was able to, I had 4 enemies left, and I think I was able to finish it. Pimtech, while really good in Dark Dimension. They are definitely not the best raid team. So that's also part of the reason why I am looking forward to eventually having Jubilee and working on the Astonishing X-Men, as they are being built as they're looking like they're going to be a great raid team. So it'll be a great option to have a secondary team if my symbiotes basically wipe or fall, or I just have bad RNG one day and they go ahead and they wipe out anti venom on like the first turn or something like that. So now we've got a couple things. We will go after this Mordo first, just because he is a little bit more dangerous than the Mystique. The symbiotes can take one hit from each other, not too big of a deal, but I don't want to start getting heal blocked this late into the raid fight. So I'm going to get him down to a nice little spot, and then I will then go ahead and target. I think I'm going to go after Juggernaut after that, just for the simple fact of that he does have very high immunity, and I don't want him, basically resisting all of my debuffs. So we're going to finish off Mordo real fast, and we will now go back into our auto strategy. As I said, I did wipe on node A7, so I believe that is the next node after this. So I would like as many of my cooldowns up as possible, because like I said, I want to kind of basically give myself the best possible chance to complete that node. And, we'll see if we have made any progress. Obviously, the number one factor if I made progress is if I'm able to finish the node. If I wipe at around the same point, so just again, try not to get too frustrated with it. Making vast amounts of progress kind of at this level, things do start to slow down a little bit, just because you run into bigger bottlenecks, and the resources you need aren't as plentiful. So, it just might take you a little bit longer to actually see any physical progression. But so far, I feel like we're doing really good. I haven't had any close scares or anything like that. So let's go ahead and try the node that thwarted Minnie the first time. Fingers crossed that we have made some progress, and we will see how this goes in just a second. All right, got some random load time going on down here. All right, so we're all loaded up. Now looking at this, characters I really don't like are going to be Doctor Strange, this Hand Sentry. Hand Sentry and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange isn't going to be a problem initially. He only starts to become a problem when I get buffs on my team. So I don't want to buff anyone up yet, just because if I do that, he is going to flip all those buffs, and then we're going to get negative effects. So I don't mind him debuffing anti-venom. I think I can survive through one round of that. Our Scream did get deleted, so we will need to get her back up, because we will need those speed ups from her. I'm going to go in now. I'm going to actually stun Ant-Man, because I don't want him ability blocking anyone. And I'm now going to go in and ability block Doctor Strange, because I don't want him rezzing anyone. And at this point, I am going to get Scream up first. Once Scream is up, I will then go back in and I will give everyone some buff ups from Anti-Venom. And I think my best bet is going to be Doctor Strange. That should get us up to the red. That should get us a little speed as well. And I think we should start to get going. I wasn't paying a lot of attention with as far as who deleted Scream. I want to say it was the Merc Sniper, and he hits pretty hard if it was him. So now kind of what I'm looking at is I don't want that Bullseye to do any of his abilities, because he's another one that it's going to hit pretty hard. And then following Bullseye, the next one I think I want to get rid of is this Night Nurse. I don't need any heals going. And I will also want to target Black Widow because I don't want her stuns going off. She's a pretty fast character and she gets to do her attack pretty frequently, so I don't want that happening. So what I will do is I will target Ant-Man, and then from Scream's basic, I should be able to chain over. And sometimes it unstuns, sometimes it doesn't. It's a chance on that hit. Sadly, it didn't get her unstunned. We're going to go in. We're going to get that hand sentry. We don't want him doing that stealth with everyone, so I'm going to ability block him. And so far, we are doing okay. I'm going to go in. I'm going to stun Ant-Man. I don't want him doing ability block. Ability block and heal block are probably the worst things that can happen to the symbiotes, and that is probably the fastest way to lose the team. I don't think I was really paying attention to that last time, and I think that might have been part of my issue, because so far we are doing pretty solid. So I don't know if it's a combination of paying attention more or just that the team has gotten a little bit better over the last couple days, but I don't seem to be running into the same problems. So we'll see. I need to get rid of this Doctor Strange, and then the other one that worries me a little bit is this Hydra Sniper back here. I'm hoping I can get a speed up prior to him going. So I attacked Black Widow just to get myself a little speed. I'm going to go in and steal some buffs from Wasp, which missed, but you do still get the buff steals. I'm going to go in, and that missed also. So having rotten luck with Wasp dodging, but I should be able to get Doctor Strange down far enough prior to him going. So boom, we got him down far enough. But one more bleed on him, he should actually kind of bleed out. I'm now going to go and I'm going to start targeting that sniper because I don't want him attacking. He's another character that hits pretty hard, and this late in the fight, I don't want any hard hits. So again, this is another node where I am running into issues of time. So we are getting close to timing out, so I'm going to try to do what I can to not have that happen, because obviously you don't want your fights timing out, because then you have to waste another raid attack to, in this case, finish 2 enemies. So I'm going to go in and I'm just do this kind of as quickly as possible. All right, boom. All right, so node A7 has been passed. So I would say for myself, personally, I've at least made a little progress. Was able to do A7, no problem. So I think it might have been a combination of paying attention and then leveling my characters to 74, which I said boosted them about 3 to 4K. Right now, Mini is sitting at 18 mil. I believe in my first U7 run, I did 25 mil. So I do have a couple more nodes I can play through, and I am expecting to see similar damage numbers. So hopefully everyone is seeing similar progress in Ultima 7. Good luck with this raid as well as our current war. I hope everyone is going to have a good weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and have a good night.